tongue. Why do you keep getting reshots?
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, as long as it's not Sam. What's happening? Wait, why can't we change it?
You're not being nice right now.
Okay, no.
Whoops. No! You bully!
Why is where oh, get up close.
Wanna play some pool then? You consider no, no.
Not.
It's correct right there, but it's not.
Because it would be a little bit longer.
I'm not.
2 + 2, Dad.
Get all the balls out.
No!
Jungle Jakes. Oh, I hate this map.
This is the worst.
This is
map.
the worst map.
What is this?
I thought I could
Is this a... I found him there.
No!
There's one missing the pool ball.
He's being really annoying right now. No!
Oh my gosh, just chill.
It's illegal.
Hey, wait.
I'm not.
Oh, you put the white ball. Are you gonna break? Yeah.
I do know.
Careful, Yoshi, don't die. Yoshi, don't.
Bro, I should do it.
Hey, that's also illegal.
You need to watch the video we did. It's so great. It's so great.
Yes, he's there.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
Oh my god.
Daniel, I think we need Shaban Andrews gone.
I suck. I'm shooting. Crouch.
Yo, Caleb,
Why do you crouch? Because this is how I shoot. I'm just practicing. You ready now?
Hey, hold on. What?
Is it my turn?
Yes, there was blood up here. What are you guys talking about? This game? Every kid that was in jail for
This is the worst. This is why the map. This map is the worst map. This is the worst map because everyone camps.
Also, why is mouth bleeding? Yes, very soon the joke.
No, go up to Yoshi.
I don't want to.
Yeah, he didn't go. What's he on?
That's right.
I am very grateful.
But
It's also sad. That's also really sad.
Tried to move that. I tried to move the.
still
So yeah, he didn't deserve to die. What's in the cabin? Hold on. There's a thing in the cabin.
And the difference is,
old grandpa.
this one, you don't get a bruise. This one just hurts.
Shot in the ball. Yeah, I know.
It's not hardcore. It's just professional.
But when he shot me with his ridiculous gun, I still have the bruise. He was sitting over there behind the pool table.
We're both on one life and Yoshi's still had all three. Even though he
I
has
was
two.
through and I still
No,
have
don't kill me. I'm too young. I'm still.
No, you're not. You are not too young.
Ooh.
Yes, I
No,
saw myself.
don't do that.
I'm gonna break that.
That's illegal.
Daniel told me how to do that.
What?
Yes, he
Oh
told
yeah,
me.
he did.
Well, I shot at her with.
Oh, I had a perfect shot right there.
It's kind of like Andrew shot her.
Stop it.
No, I'm trying to mark, okay? I don't want to get third. That is no.
No.
It worked.
Yes.
When you shower with it.
Finally won one.
I will fight you.
Oh, what is it?
Or sorry, I killed you right away.
No.
Do you want it?
Gang.
To get this
Boy,
gun?
gang.
Oh, we go for it. We're sorry that we
These are the sevens.
We're sorry.
Sevens.
Ooh, okay. You set me up there.
Hands so light.
Are you gonna change your character?
Why do you set them down? They don't
No?
sit.
Okay. Going random this time.
They sit with the
Yay, another island.
I hate the islands. Stop with the island.
Yoshi just tried to
I
suicide.
think he did. I know, but
Yoshi.
well, no, I
Come on,
know.
those are some good
I
shots.
know Chris about you, but still.
Stop it with the small island.
What was that?
Stop. I'm a no-namer.
Oh, stop being a
That
no-neighbor.
gun is so strong. Put 25 pounds of pressure on it.
I just played 4, okay? No, 4. I'm just 4.
One of our boys, no, like this small. Good dog.
You shouldn't be fighting at 4 years old. Like, you really should not be
You
fighting.
have a back door.
Right. No.
You also
No.
have to.
Oh, Yoshi's. Oh, no.
Yoshi, no!
Dad! Die, Dad!
Woohoo!
No!
Oh, it's still spinning.
Yoshi, please! There's
What?
so much time!
Oh, please. No! Why?
Oh no! I wasn't. Oh, I didn't keep my eye.
Was she like the most kindful?
The most kindful? Yes,
Well,
he's the most
that's-
kindful.
Oh, dang!
None of them are. Marth is the most kindful.
Look at Yoshi.
Actually, I haven't died yet. I'm.
Sounds good, Mike. So shoot that.
Look at Marth.
Look at Mark that you got.
I'm not dead though. I've only got 99%. There's a really big.
Does that count? I tapped it.
Stop it for me, Dad. Yes, you look real good. My sister and Pikachu is so annoying.
Why?
She spams so much.
Oh.
Well, I got
Rocco
third
died
from
first twice.
2 times. Dad died twice, guys. No, I had to bow out and raise it.
I know you did, and that's why I didn't. That's why I hit you.
You still haven't lost anything.
I have not lost any
Stop,
lives.
Yoshi. Stop.
No.
That was like less than 2 kills.
Whoa,
Die,
okay.
Max.
I will die on my
I
own.
know how to play.
You can't kill me.
Just have it.
No.
Hey, let Yoshi
What? Huh?
I was touching my yo-yo.
It would open my, it would open my finger.
That is the most kindest thing.
Walk over to you.
Whoa! Okay. If that was my ball, that would have been a good shot.
No, he's not. I can see he's making it.
Yoshi.
Yoshi is taunting on us.
Yeah. That's not
Good
true.
cover.
You can't taunt us.
You can't taunt
Yeah,
us.
you can't taunt us.
Whoa!
Taunt us, we're gonna die.
Yes, there you go.
My legs.
Spanking it high.
Still feel like
Get my ball.
Those legs still feel like
My legs hurt.
Yeah, my legs still hurt from Nerf.
Look, I got home, I checked my pants. There was like a stupid fireball sliding in my pants, and it went all the way down into my stupid flat.
Were you?
No, it was like a fireball, but worse. So my whole kneecap like
Yeah, 'cause
one
nobody
wreck.
likes this.
No one cares.
Oh, that's
like
me.
this.
No, that's me, Sonia.
No one likes you or Yoshi.
No one likes Yoshi.
No one likes.
No one likes Yoshi. That's sad. He's cute.
Is he? I don't think
Yoshi's
he's an
handsome.
alien.
Yoshi is.
Wow. Is Yoshi a he or she?
No, I missed it.
That's a big question.
Yoshi is a yes.
Stinks. I got two votes.
Yoshi is a Yoshi.
Yeah, Yoshi. Yeah.
But what is a Yoshi?
I don't know.
Nope. Thank you.
Yoshi is a Yoshi. No, it's a Yoshi.
No.
Yoshi is its own species.
Oh, I set myself up there. Oh, you tapped it! Oh! Get back! No.
No, but I want to totally different one.
Fourth.
Here, I'm gonna go steal these.
Dude, can you stop moving around where I am?
Oh, sorry about that.
Does anybody else want to play? Oh, no.
You want to be.
Dude, you guys playing pool? The 8-baller is the best.
I know. Don't
To
stop.
win, you have to get the 8-ball.
I don't want to play credit anymore. Second nuts.
Well, you don't want to be with
Ooh, yay.
Yeah, here's something interesting. I can give you access to
What are you doing? What?
I can move it by an inch if it's so close to the wall. I like pull up when I got home when I started playing. And you can physically do that.
Yep.
Ooh.
You can hit the 8 ball with another ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make a shake.
Oh, what?
Really? If he wins, don't worry. I'll back up.
Shot? It's a flip over?
Whoa!
Go away. I just did it harder, okay?
Alright, what you need to do
Yeah, exactly.
is tap it
Yoshi and Kirby and you two are
right
all
there,
kids.
basically. Because you can't do it that way. You can't.
You know what? No, I'm done with you.
You know
I'm
what?
done with you.
Don't have to call my hole.
I'm done with you.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking of the
If you. And you're also not supposed to scratch that too.
Beware.
Now? Oh yeah.
Oh, me trash?
Right.
Could you illegally spam him last
That's
time?
good.
Wow.
There's more like groceries right now.
You're not nice. That was really not nice.
You think you two would die first?
But doesn't that mean I win though? Because you already have the right ball for you.
Oh yeah, that should be.
So, it was known as like infinite full
You're not nice.
wall base.
Nobody is nice.
Yeah, you get harder for you. Tap it ball over there. Ah, Gucci.
So a lot of people would get
Mars?
Cold pocket, cold pocket.
Okay, red mark.
If he fails.
Yeah, red mark. Everyone, okay. Chill. Everyone get red mark. Bob, please go get red mark.
So there's like
No. Red mark.
Bob dies.
Red mark. Not black, white, black. No. Go.
Down B. Down B.
California.
Yes. Get his Bob's first
Do it,
B.
yeah.
Now it's like
No, okay, no.
No. What are you doing?
You failed.
Everyone get red mark. No, not me. I'm not red mark.
When do you get it?
Stop hitting me.
B. Just press hold B.
Okay, return.
Then press B again with
the most calorically like
He always plays Mars whenever I play Mars because he can't beat me without any other player. Any other
not
character.
dense.
Yoshi.
I don't know.
Kirby's an it.
No.
It's the same place again.
Yeah, I know.
So what I recommend you do is
Guys,
just start
you
at
just
trap.
Okay, are we?
I am.
Sorry, what would you look at?
Get
Play teams.
everyone, get red mark.
I'm not nice.
Oh.
Okay.
I
Oh,
call that market.
No!
I call that market.
No! Come on.
No!
I am no.
I call that pocket in that one.
Not me. Not me. Not me.
Fatality. Yeah!
Never make your shot either.
Oh, look at this. Look at those buckets. I'm calling. That pocket.
Okay, get green mark. With the green game set. No, stop coming after me. I will destroy you.
Oh my gosh, that pocket.
That bucket.
Oh,
Oh,
you
you
suck.
suck.
You cannot.
That
I
pocket.
suck.
Hold on.
Take it. There you go, Cameron.
Because he's a coward.
It's taking so long to giving up.
He is.
So,
Because he's a coward. You are.
no!
Yeah, leave me that scratch.
He is dead. He's dead to us.
No, it's not.
It is. Theoretically, it is.
No.
What are you trying to do?
No.
Don't you screw me up.
I'm gonna do it. It's no.
Okay, be chill. No.
I toast after though.
Down B.
I'm I get so hot on you. I don't know why. I just am.
Where are you?
Whoa! Oh! Oh!
Look down the barrel. Oh my god, look at you two Kirby.
I'm just trying to get it in that pocket.
What does that mean?
I love it.
That's just
I can't see.
Yep, I can see.
I
Okay.
couldn't see
That
what's
one.
on shoot.
Ooh, shoot me.
I'm sorry you couldn't see your
No,
demon
Jeremiah,
pool
please.
No.
at church.
No!
This has been going on for
Like
so long.
Maya.
It's so bad that we can't.
Over here.
Okay, this
Here, I'll
is
make it for you.
No,
guys.
Jack.
No,
Go,
don't
Jack.
do it.
Go.
That pocket right here.
That
Swap.
pocket. Jed, stop.
I think it's a little too far.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm just setting you up because I'm just done waiting.
Oh yeah.
I'm done waiting.
Because it's
That's
nothing.
What do you expect? I tapped it right there for you. This game's so easy.
Nice excuses.
Excuses.
That's all.
Oh,
I missed. I
Is
still
that an
missed.
advertisement for Nerf Night?
You missed.
Oh, it was.
It was.
Oh, it was.
It's already gone. Sorry.
But it'll be back.
My time travel.
But it was really fun. We can advertise that.
Like 7.
It will be back, but without Andrew's gun.
Yeah.
Yes.
That thing was.
Oh, and
You knew I was gonna win in the first place though, because I made all my balls regularly.
my legs.
Does anyone want to open us up in prayer? Cool. I'll do it.
We all lost our voice during Nerf Night, okay?
That makes sense.
Yeah, even us.
I'll take the excuse, I guess. You're talking, and it doesn't sound like your voice is gone to me, but that's okay.
What do you mean?
Dear Lord, thank you for this morning. Thank you for all the people here. I just pray that you would just open up our hearts and just really focus on these songs and on your word and what you have to say to us this morning. I pray this in your name. Amen. The splendor of a king, clothed in majesty. Let all the earth rejoice. Let all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide. And it trembles at his voice. It trembles at his voice. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God, and all will see how great is our God. Age to age he stands, and time is in his hands. The beginning and the end, beginning and the end. The Godhead, 3 in 1. Father, Spirit, Son, the Lion and the Lamb, the Lion and the Lamb. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? come to you, for I know you satisfy. I am empty, but I know your love, it does not run dry. So I wait for you. Oh, I wait for you. I'm falling on my knees. I'm falling all of me. Jesus, you're all this heart is living for. Broken, I run to you, for your arms are open wide. I am weary, but I know your touch restores my life. So I wait for you. Oh, I wait for you. I'm falling on my knees, offering all of me. Jesus, you're all this heart is living for. I am falling on my knees, offering all of me. Jesus, you're all this heart is living for. Hungry, I come to you, for I know you satisfy. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Holy, holy is He. Sing a new song to Him who sits on heaven's mercy seat. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. With all creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. I will adore you. Clothed in rainbows of living color, flashes of lightning, rolls of thunder. Blessing and honor, strength and glory and power be to you, the only wise King. Oh, and holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. With all creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. Oh, I will adore you. Filled with wonder, dark wonder at the mention of your name. Jesus, your name is power, breath and living water, such a marvelous mystery. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. With all creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. Oh, I will adore you. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Holy, holy is He.
Thank you again, Lord, for this morning. I pray that you would just bless it. Microphone's falling down. I pray that you would speak through Daniel and just help him to be able to talk, even though his voice is kind of gone. And I pray that we would all just be respectful of him and of that, and that everything would go smoothly. I pray this in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Elise. If you guys don't have a Bible with you yet, go get one off the shelf.
Topic 9.
Topic 9.
Night. There's no S.
There's only an S if you think there'd be an S.
So, use it. Does anyone need this chair? Am I stealing it from someone?
We have two now.
Those who are not in a comfy chair are choosing not to be. We have comfy chairs. There's that one. There's that one. There's that one.
You're saying
But
What is he saying?
we have comfy chairs. Angel Bob, we have comfy chairs.
On the couch. I sat on the couch, went to sleep, I woke up.
Angel Bob, we have comfy chairs.
Yeah.
Who's Angel?
When I got home after midnight, I passed out on the couch.
anyways,
Time of Angels?
Woke up and
What?
fell asleep.
The Time of
Passed out in
Angels?
the car.
Remember the one where they're in the crash ship with the weeping angels? He's like,
Yes.
I was
Yes.
talking to Angel Bob from the control room.
but I
He's
don't
like,
remember the comfy chairs.
That's
I
man.
don't
We've
remember
got
the
a big
comfy
control room. It's big and it's nice and it's got comfy chairs.
You're not gonna make me.
We're coming to kill you. Yes, but did I
You
mention
quote
we have
all
comfy
you
chairs?
want. I don't remember.
We got done with worship first, like earlier in second service than first service, and that's like quite an accomplishment. So I thought it deserved a round of applause.
Yay! Cool.
Daniel, what chapter are you? 27.
27. All right, before we jump into Genesis, which is chapter 27 today, I just want to give you a heads up in case you haven't caught it yet. Topic nights have been picked out based on what you guys asked for. Our first topic night will feature dino nuggets for dinner. So close. And we're going to be talking about these 4 topics. The second night will feature peanuts and
Peanuts and donuts.
Peanuts and donuts.
Peanuts and donuts. Delicious.
no, wait a second.
Perfect.
Peanut
Peanut butter
pizza and
jelly
donuts.
donuts.
And then peanuts. What's the
Peanut butter.
Dozas.
Yeah.
Dozas. Peanuts and dozas, which is actually, those go together. So maybe we'll try that some other time. Second night will be pizza and donuts. We'll be covering those 4 topics.
I like
Be
peanuts
there.
and donuts.
Wait.
Peanuts and
I
dozas.
thought as topic night we were talking about
I'm not gonna
Daniel.
Alright.
be there.
Third night we'll be having a taco bar, and we'll see. Maybe we'll switch this up. Peach can't eat 4th night, and she'll be there 4th night, so maybe we'll switch taco bar down to 4th night. Anyways, we'll be covering these 4 topics.
What is the fourth night?
And the fourth night will be mac and cheese.
I haven't had that forever.
Or not. Maybe we can switch to Taco Bar.
I never had that.
These are the 4 topics we'll be
It's
covering on
just
night
like
4.
pasta. Actually, never mind. I lied.
Alright, I'm only coming for 2. That's the Dino Nuggets and Sun Donuts.
I'm doing the first and the last.
Just for the food.
Do you want the pizza or the peanuts?
The peanuts.
Is there a nuts?
What's up?
Oh, I'm telling them to be respectful and keep it down because your voice.
I'll just bark at them like a scared dog.
Bark.
He said a scared dog.
Bark.
That's always what I feel like when it sounds like I lose it.
Dog.
It sounds like a very
Dog.
scared dog.
Dog.
No, my dog had like
Good job being respectful, guys. She only asked you like 30 seconds ago.
Wait, what are we on?
New record.
We're in 27.
Alright, anyways, those are the nights. We've got the new flyers. The new flyers have those on them. That way you can invite people you know. Invite people intelligently. If they want to talk about this stuff, great. If they need to talk about this stuff, like you know them and you know they need to learn about this, bring them. This is why we're here. So yeah, we got the new flyers out there on the kitchen counter. Also, there's Cheetos on the kitchen counter. I don't even know how it's possible. I opened a bag of Cheetos, I put it on the counter, and they're not gone yet. How's that possible?
I have to finish the bag.
Daniel, I don't
Largely, I think it's because one person had them guarded the entire time.
Hey, wait, was it a full bag this morning?
Yeah, I opened it right before second service. It wasn't even open for first service.
Almost more than half the bag.
It's really surprising you are
Half the
not
bag's
orange.
air.
Her fingers.
I would have a hard time eating that many Cheetos and not turning
Yes, they
orange.
are.
Half of the
They
bag's
are.
air.
Like something you would find.
Just
I brought a bag of chips.
just so you guys know, Cheeto addiction is a real thing.
Yeah.
And you should get help. You should get help.
I'll try and tell her.
I'm only slightly joking. There is actually a protein in cheese that has been found to be addictive. It's called caseinate, and you can actually get it isolated, which is really scary. You can go to the health food store and just get a bucket of caseinate. Like, that's really weird to
Wait,
me.
what?
That we know what the addictive substance in cheese is, and we've refined it and put it in bucket form.
Where's the cheese?
Yeah, it doesn't actually taste as good as cheese. You need the cheese to make it taste good. But it's in Cheeto dust. Cheeto dust has
Cheese is good.
caseinated in it. So.
In order to not do it, wash the Cheetos. Just put it in soapy water.
No, but Alton Brown does have the recipe. You can make it.
Have you ever tried frosted
All right,
flakes
guys,
in water?
we're gonna jump into Genesis chapter 27 today. We're each gonna read a paragraph. Caleb, your paragraph is verse 1.
First one.
Oh.
One day when Isaac was old and turning blind, he called for Esau, his older son, and said, "My son." "Yes, father," Esau replied.
And then 2 through 4 is yours, JR.
Okay. I am an old man now, Isaac said, and I don't know when I may die. Take your bow and quiver full of arrows, and go out into the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare my favorite dish and bring it here for me to eat. Then I will pronounce the blessing that belongs to you, my firstborn son, before I die.
You got 5 through 10.
Now Rebekah overheard what Isaac had said to his son Esau. So when Esau left to hunt for the wild game, she said to her son Jacob, "Listen, I overheard your father say to Esau, 'Bring me some wild game and prepare me a delicious meal. Then I will bless you in the Lord's presence before I die.' Now my son, listen to me. Do exactly as I tell you. Go out to the flocks and bring me 2 fine young goats. I'll use them to prepare your father's favorite dish. Then take the food to your father, so he can eat it and bless you before he dies."
So Rebecca's intention, if you're not clear, is to sneak Jacob in, pretending to be Esau, using Isaac's recent blindness as a way to do this without Isaac knowing.
Wait, Esau's blind?
No, Isaac. Isaac, Esau, Jacob, Rebecca. 4 people. Someday my hand will make 4. There we go. So, 4 people. Isaac the dad, Esau the older twin, Jacob the younger twin, Rebecca the wife. Rebecca likes Jacob Esau is liked by Isaac. Each parent has their favorite. Always great in a family structure if the parents play favorites. Really helps things out.
I know.
It's just fantastic. So, Isaac is not just playing favorites with Esau. It was customary at that point in time to favor the eldest son in all things. In this circumstance, it's very noticeable because there's only 2 sons. So you've just got one over the other. Typically, it'd be more like 1 over the other 6. That'd be like a more normal scenario. Typically, dad dies, the oldest son gets a double inheritance. So if there's like 6 boys, then the oldest son gets 2/7, and the other boys all get a 1/7. And when you put that up, that doesn't look that bad, really. I mean, there's 7 portions. All the other boys get 1 of these, and then he gets these. 6 boys, 7 portions. He gets double. That doesn't look so bad, But then you realize when there's only 2 of you, it's more like this. He gets these, and you get this. Like, oh, that sucks.
Why would you want a finger?
An index finger, man. Those are priceless. All right.
Do you even
Thanks for
want
taking
My
the joke.
dad is happy a lot about that.
That was a well-crafted joke. Okay, so obviously you get something better than a finger. Isaac was a very rich man. Isaac had inherited everything from his father Abraham, and on top of that, Isaac had made himself even richer than that. So Isaac was very wealthy. Most towns that Abraham or Isaac rolled up to, they'd be looked at and called a prince. Would you like a chair, Weston? I have this extra one right here.
Yes. Put it all the way over there.
All yours. He brought us all the way home with his chair.
I got my first chair.
I'll finish the Bible study. I'll get in my
buy their
car.
first car. I buy my first chair.
I'll finish the Bible study. Get in my car.
Wait till
I'll
we
get
get
in
your
my
house.
car.
When you're tired, just sit down.
He probably still has it.
No, we have
All right.
chair strap to your back and then go travel.
So,
Wait,
Put a chair on your back
ignition on
and
this?
stop when you were tired.
now last week we read about Esau willingly trading his birthright for some soup. And the birthright would have come with the inheritance. So that was a very valuable thing. Today, though, we're talking about a blessing. And interestingly, Esau wants this. That's weird because of last week. Last week we saw that he didn't want the inheritance, he didn't want the birthright, he didn't want the family status.
Maybe he's gone wiser.
It's very possible he got wiser. I think, though, there is a slight difference here. There's pride in Esau, and he doesn't like his family. He doesn't even respect God, but he knows God's real. That's a strange place to be in. Not respecting God, not wanting to do what God says. There we go. But you also know for sure that he's real.
It's even worse than being an atheist.
I know you, God. I just don't like you. That's basically where Esau is. So Esau wants Isaac's blessing. He knows Isaac's blessing counts for something, that it's real. He knows that prayer is real. That's exceptional when you consider that Esau doesn't respect God. That's a really strange place, isn't it? So he wants this. He goes off hunting. Mom comes up with the plan, tells it to Jacob, and then what do we get from Jacob? Jonathan, read us 13.
Alright,
Oh no, sorry. Read us 11 and 12.
Only 11 and 12. But look, Jacob replied to Rebekah, my brother Esau is a very hairy man, and my skin is smooth. So what if my father touches me? He'll see that I'm trying to trick him, and then he'll curse me instead of blessing me.
That's very interesting that Jacob has the kind of mind that when hearing a scheme from someone's lips, his mind doesn't go, oh, but that's me. He doesn't do that. He goes, but your plan has a flaw.
Is it normal?
Now some of us are like that, Johnny. Some of us are like that. Others of us, we know someone tells us a scheme. The correct way to respond is to say,
Okay.
you shouldn't do that. That's mean. and then go off into a separate room and make their plan better. And then execute the plan, and they don't get a cut. So Jacob's in that middle ground where he's like, this isn't going to work. I don't know if you guys think it's strange that he thinks his dad's going to touch him. Did anyone notice that? He is certain that not having hair on his arms and neck is like a problem. And his dad will notice this. If you walked into a room with your dad and had a conversation, do you think at some point in the course of that conversation he would touch your arms and or neck?
Yes.
No.
Some dads,
Maybe.
it's a hard no.
Means.
It's not going to happen. Other dads, it's like, yeah, I might get bounced off the ceiling a few times before I leave that room. You know, like I'm going to get tossed through the air like some sort of ninja star. It just depends on the dad, okay? But in this situation, we know what's going to occur when he gets in the room. There's going to be a heartfelt prayer for the son. And when you pray for someone, you may do it in many different modes, many different ways. But typically, even to this day, if you are feeling very strongly for that person and you are getting emotional as you pray for them, it is very common to touch them. Very common to this day. That has not changed. It's very, very common. If you see someone downstairs who comes in and finds out, like I just found out last week I have cancer and it's terminal, and like they get the pastors together, we pray for them, there will probably be every single one of us touching that person. We will have a hand on their back, on their neck, on their shoulder, on their arm, like wherever we can get a hand in. One of the elders walks by and like sees us praying, here's what it's about. Immediately they're gonna throw a hand on that person.
This is a church.
No. It's good. It's actually commanded. It says in the Bible, I kid you not, New Testament, it says if you are sick, go to the elders and ask them to lay hands on you.
So you can get them sick.
I'm not sure it was thought of like that. It's more about the getting healed part. So, yeah, not all diseases are communicable by touching someone's back. Come on.
I just realized I have to grow
That's a pretty rare thing. Okay, so Jacob knows this is a big difference. This is a big difference.
Oh, I lost my stuff.
He's also afraid of the consequences. A good person is generally more afraid of doing the wrong thing. And a crafty, clever, sly person is afraid of the consequences. They both don't want to do the wrong thing, but it's for very different reasons.
I mean, I'm smart and evil.
Johnny, stop being neat, okay? So he's afraid of the consequences. He says, if I go in there for a blessing and he finds me out, he's going to curse me. And if his blessing counts for something, his curse counts for something. He's afraid of that. So what does mom say? Jediah 14.
But his mother replied, then let the curse fall on me, my son. Just do what I tell you. Go out and get the goats for me.
Thank you for reading the right verse. I told you 14, just the wrong verse. But you read the right one.
Oh.
Very good. More efficient than correcting me. Okay, then we got 14 through 17.
So Jacob went out and got the young goats for his mother. Rebekah took him and prepared a delicious meal just the way Isaac liked it. Then she took Esau's favorite clothes, which were there in the house, and gave them to her younger son, Jacob. She covered his arms and the smooth part of his neck with the skin of the young goats. Then she gave Jacob the delicious meal, including freshly baked bread.
That's messed up.
Okay, so he's hairy. Esau's like really hairy. If the analogy for Esau's hair is goat, that's like I've never really met anyone like that. I mean, like some of your dads maybe are hairy. Like some of your dads maybe. Is anyone's dad here goat hairy?
No.
My dad doesn't have any hair.
I have a very strange set of genes. Various parts of me are incredibly hairy, and then various parts are just like bald. And like it's weird. It's very strange to me. Like this part of my arm, it's not like dark hair, it's not thick hair, but there's a lot of it. Like there's a lot of hair on my arm. And then like there's not. Like what? Why is that? I'd like to have a conversation with my genes sometimes. Just be like, did you guys not get stirred properly? Do I have different genes down here than up here? Is that like... And then, you know, I don't have the hairiest arms in the world. I certainly wouldn't pass for a goat. But like, I get the neck one. Because for some reason, my scalp thinks that the proper place to end is somewhere right below my shirt collar. I don't know why, but when I get a haircut, I have to like shave my neck because my head hair, if I let it grow out, it just goes all the way down until it's under my shirt, and then it's happy. It's like, okay, we're good now. We're good now. So like, I kind of get that. If you didn't get a haircut a bunch or they didn't have proper razors, like, yeah, hairy neck, okay, I get that one. But goats for arms. And how'd she hold it on? She have like a big glue stick?
Yeah,
or like
probably.
strings? I always thought strings as a kid, but then I realized, wait a second, you'd feel the strings. You'd be like, what's this weird bracelet you got on, Esau? I have a string tied to your arm. That'd be strange. So I wonder these things. So my new theory, she got out the sewing machine, she made goat sleeves. That's my new theory. Goat sleeves. You just pull them up.
And like a goat collar.
There you go. Goat collar. That's my new working theory.
The devil and become the goat.
Okay. Then we get to 18.
Oops.
Hi, you got 18.
Okay. Daniel, I found a bean M&M.
That's really weird.
Wait, what?
Probably got 2 peanuts inside.
Or it's got no peanuts.
Save it and then mail a letter
So
to the
then
M&M
Jacob
company
took
and you'll
the
get
food
it.
Nope.
Okay. 18.
So Jacob took the food to his father. My father, he said. Yes, my son, Isaac answered. Who are you? I forgot how to say his name.
Esau.
Esau or Jacob?
Yeah.
Jacob replied,
It's just like a new modern electric
It's
saw.
Esau, your firstborn son. I've done as you told me. Here is the wild game. Now sit up and eat it so you can give me your blessing.
That's confidence right there. You walk in the tent and you say, my father. And your father, who's supposed to think you're Esau, immediately says, who are you, Jacob or Esau? I would like drop the bed and just run out. Mom, it didn't work. But he's got confidence.
Mommy, you lied.
He's like, it's Esau.
That voice crack though, dude.
That's a really good
That's a vintage voice
You
crack.
sounded like an actual like,
Vintage.
that little kid.
That was a really good impression though.
Thank you.
Let's give him credit for that. That was well done.
It took me an all-nighter to work to make that for you.
It was good. Can we just give a round of applause for that acting?
But he does cut to the chase. He cuts to the chase. Says, "Here, I brought you food so you can bless me." Just reminding him, this is why I'm here. Yes.
And I know this.
Oh yeah, I didn't sleep.
Yeah, me
I
too.
didn't sleep.
Oh,
We didn't.
I didn't sleep either.
Me too.
I got a full 8 minutes of sleep.
It was a weird experience because like most nights when the guys stay up all night, they still sleep in the morning.
I did something.
Most guys. Nate finally did. He finally crashed. You like stayed up till the parents started getting here, and then you fell asleep.
I know, right?
When I was there for the sleepover one, I remember you stayed up with all of us girls all night.
You guys wouldn't go to bed.
I know. I tried. I tried so
You gotta be careful who you bring to the Nerf nights.
Once I got
Because if you're gonna fall
home,
asleep
fell
and you
asleep.
bring the wrong
Can't
friend,
stop giving
you're just
me
gonna draw on your
chores.
face.
Oh, we should have done that. We should have
go home.
That's why I drew on my face before I went to bed.
But guys, there's something you gotta keep in mind in the story. Isaac's old. He thinks he's gonna die. He's going blind. But he's not dumb. He's not dumb. He just can't see that good. So he's got some questions. In the back. Malachi, you wanna read us 20?
I did ask, how did you find it so quickly, my son? The Lord, your God, put it in my path to go.
See, Rebecca only hatched this plan because she knows how long it takes when you go hunting. When you go hunting, right, you have to get there, so there's travel. Then you have to sit still. Then you have to wait for animals to come back into the area where you've tromped into. then you have to actually successfully shoot the animal. Like, it's not a quick process.
then you
And
have
even
to
after
bring
you
them
catch
up.
it, you still gotta drag it all the way home. Like, it's not fast. So she knows there's a certain amount of time we have to get this plan done. Likewise, Isaac knows I asked for barbecued hunted meat. It's going to take a while. He's not expecting it for lunch that day. Dinner at the earliest. So when Jacob walks in quickly, after the request is made, he goes, "How did this happen?" Yeah,
They use the word bows invented yet, or
I believe they were.
Oh.
Yes.
Does it
They
say
don't get
where
mentioned in Genesis, I don't think. But they do get mentioned other places in the Old Testament. Now this is a lot before those places where it is mentioned. So maybe it's a spear at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Trap.
A trap. Yeah, there's other options. Definitely a sling.
Trap.
But yeah.
Just run at
Oh,
it.
it does mention it. It does mention
Yeah.
it.
Where?
Just
Chapter
run at
3.
it. Hey, board.
Verse 3.
Verse 3. Take your
Chapter
bow
27.
and quiver full of arrows.
Yeah, take your.
Well, la di da. My brain just filtered that out.
I forgot about that.
Wow, nice.
Well done.
You must have your brain
I have
work,
a
I
flap
didn't you?
for cool.
What?
Oh no. Because Daniel finally got smart.
You guys, if you want, next time someone starts a round of clapping and you don't know why, you can just stare at them and wonder why they're clapping.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Attention.
Make them feel like an idiot because they haven't been paying attention.
I think you just invented that point. Okay.
That's been around for
21
ages.
through 24.
I used to do it to my dad all the time.
21 through 24.
1 through 24.
Mhm.
Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Come closer to so I can touch you and make sure that you really are Esau." So Jacob went closer to his father, and Isaac touched him. "The voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau's," Isaac said. But he did not recognize Jacob because Jacob's hands felt hairy, just like Esau's. So Isaac prepared to bless Jacob. But are you really my son Esau?" he asked. "Yes, I am," Jacob replied.
This
Liar.
Does that mean he has gloves?
Smuggling.
this is really sickening to me.
He's smuggling.
He lied like 1,000 times.
When you trick a little kid, it's kind of to teach them, right?
No, not really.
Like, you only trick a little kid because you've noticed they don't know something.
Like for instance.
And then when you trick them, if you're good and you love them, you trick them and then you tell them.
That's why Jacob
You tell them that you tricked them. You tell them what the real thing is, and then
Literally.
Johnny, Jediah, they're gonna remember that, right? But they're not just gonna remember the trick and be like, "I hate you forever. You tricked me once." They're gonna remember what they learned. So when you trick a little kid, you can do it with the intent to help them. It doesn't mean it's the right thing to do, but like, I won't necessarily have a problem with it. I've done it before. It can be very funny. When you trick an old person,
The fire is cold.
It's not funny.
Shame on you.
it's hard for me to hold back the hatred that forms in like the pit of my being. When you trick an old person, I kind of just want to kick you in the teeth. It's like,
Yes. Seems a little.
think about it, guys. Like, this is a person who you should be respecting. This is a person who already lived through what you lived through, already learned what you know. And the only reason you can trick them is because they've been alive so long that their brain's getting a little fuzzy, their eyesight's getting a little fuzzy, their hearing's getting a little fuzzy. None of these things are their fault. None of these things are things they willingly chose. And likewise, these things are all things you're going to go through one day. So when you trick an old person, like, you're not just disrespecting them, you're hurting them. It's not like you're teaching them a lesson and 5 minutes from now they're going to get the joke and laugh with you. When you trick an old person, like, you're just hurting them. Yeah. That's just
Benjamin.
that's them tricking a little kid, because to them, you and a 4-year-old are pretty close together.
Oh.
Think about how much older they are.
Maturity-wise, not maturity-wise.
Oh.
Just ratios, right?
Somebody
The
called the
distance
fire
between you and
department.
them
Somebody
and a
just got
4-year-old, it's
seriously
not a
burned.
very different ratio. It's not that different. So, put it like this, guys. When you get to be
That burn was more than my dispatch, but that's not.
when you get to be 6,000, you're about as old as the world. When you get to be 600, you're about 10% as old as the world. When you get to be 60, you're about 1% as old as the entire world.
But when you get to
Isn't that
60, they're
weird?
6 years older than you when you were first
Wait, so
born.
when I turn 60, wait, the world's gonna never mind.
Well, it'll probably be older by then, but not
Yes.
that much
Wait,
older.
I was
Then it'll be like,
Six.
when you're 61, you're 1% as old as the world. It's not that big a deal.
I thought you said that when you're 60, the world's gonna be 60 years old.
No.
Oh.
What?
No, all of your friends.
Did I even
will
come
be-
close to
were
saying
I
that?
thought you said that.
Oh. It makes sense.
Welcome to life.
I hope I didn't say that.
Daniel
didn't.
Daniel
Shut up.
actually.
Alright, so Jacob,
When you turn 60, the world's gonna turn 60.
he clinches it. He commits the final act. He goes all the way through with the plan. And so then, this is what Isaac says. 25 is, where's that person?
Abby.
Okay, then it's your turn.
Then Isaac said, "Now my son, bring me the wild grain and eat it, and then I will give you my blessing." So Jacob took the food to his father and ate it. He also drank the wine that Jacob served him. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come a little closer and kiss me."
Now, kisses back then, I don't know if you guys know, it was a very less formal, personal thing than what it is now. We tend to reserve kisses for romance and little kids. And that's, like, there's not a lot of other people getting kisses. But it's interesting. I think all of it has declined simultaneously. I think all human contact has kind of slid further down the slope.
Yep.
Because likewise, hugs have also become a much less greeting kind of thing, and they used to be. Hug was a greeting a while back, and now a hug can be a little strange. Like if you met a person for the first time and you hugged them.
Wait, a pug?
No.
I want a
Hi,
pug.
do you want a hug?
Yeah. I want a dog.
It looks like it's mixed or smashed in with a frying pan.
Thank you, Weston.
Its skull is shaped like a tuna can, so it can't really breathe.
Wait, what?
Oh my gosh.
Evil.
No, the truth is much sadder
Tell
than
me
that.
I'm wrong.
You're
the truth
wrong.
is so much sadder, Johnny. The truth is we bred them to have a smashed in.
Yeah, that's.
We've
They're so
intentionally
adorable.
bred them to have breathing problems.
So squishy.
Yeah.
Like what's it called? The butt like dogs.
That's just sick. That's just sick. Humans, you have a problem.
Entirety of his life.
When you start genetically engineering things to not be able to breathe right, you've gone too far.
Look like a doorstop with limbs.
When a pug can't breathe and they're doing this.
Yeah, if a kid was born like that, you'd give him surgery to have that fixed.
Wait, what?
A dog is born like that, you just charge more.
Wait, what?
You're not gonna understand. Okay.
You shouldn't have put that food out.
I like when you guys eat food. I don't like when you get up every 2 minutes during service to get more.
How about you just give everybody a bag? That's the point.
It was meant for before and after service.
I haven't even.
The licorice has been
Just go
charcoal.
grab the
I
bag.
mostly blame you.
I just grabbed the bag and caught
I
it.
mostly blame
Yeah, how about this? We just put it in the roof.
you. Abby's looking over here like,
And the more you catch, the more you get.
Everyone.
I was thinking about just
pouring like the whole
putting
bag
it on
into
camera.
her.
just wants
Bag's gone.
a satisfying amount of Cheetos. There is an amount of Cheetos that
Then
isn't
get back.
satisfying.
Yeah.
You ever notice this?
Yeah, one.
You have to get to the point where your fingers have caked dust. As soon as your fingers have caked dust and you can lick your fingers clean, you've had a satisfying amount of Cheetos.
You could eat more?
Less than that,
What if it's like
That's not enough.
too?
That's just,
More than
that's
that,
just barely a snack.
now we're getting
It's
into
just-
snack
it's just
and
one
meal
hand.
territory.
What if it's like a glove to me?
But less than that, it's just not satisfying. It's
Okay,
like a
Pops,
form of
You
torture.
just stick your whole hand in there and just
Here's the greatest substance on the planet. You can have one.
Yeah, just grab one at a time. Ouch.
Back to the story, Jacob.
That's just me. Okay, so the kiss thing, real quick.
Isn't that like some kind of
Nowadays, shaking your hands with someone, you know, shaking hands with someone, that is a form of contact that's pretty low on the totem pole. It's not that personal. Hugging, a little more personal. Kissing, I mean, count for me. Count for me. How many people would you let kiss you and it wouldn't be weird?
None.
If you had to count.
Kiss in my life.
What I'm talking about.
10.
The fact that you can even count definitely shows like where we're at.
What?
Wow. Wow.
Keep going further back though. And a kiss was a greeting. Now you could do it in two ways. You could do it on the lips, you could do it on the cheek. And if you did it on the cheek, it could be used. Guys, I'm trying really hard to talk. I don't want to talk over you. I don't have the ability right now. At this point in time, a kiss on the cheek could be used as an actual greeting. Like we would shake hands. A kiss on the cheek could literally be, I've met you for the first time, hello. That's a kiss on the cheek all the way back here in this time. Now at this point in time, a kiss on the lips still meant something. It meant I am close to you, but it did not have a romantic connotation. Not strictly anyways. There's definitely different ways to kiss on the lips. And you can, you know, make it a peck or make it something sloppy, and that still meant something back then. So a peck on the lips wasn't necessarily romantic back then. It was, I'm close to you. You and I are close. Yeah.
What if you kiss the hand? What if you like?
Oh, sure.
And then you punch them in the face.
That's not.
Well, that and knuckle sandwich.
That's not just time. That's also location. Right? So like different cultures, different things. So yeah, different cultures for sure. Kiss on the hand had a different meaning. It wasn't a lower form of kiss, it was a different form of kiss. So a kiss on the hand might mean I want to someday be able to kiss you on the lips. It's typically what it meant culturally was I would like to pursue you in a romantic sense, but we haven't started that yet. Yeah.
Then how do you get married? Like you're just saying hi.
How do you move towards a romantic kiss?
Yeah. Like.
It's no different now than it is
if
then.
a kiss would be a greeting, then how?
No, a kiss
how
on
do
the
you get
cheek
married?
is a greeting.
I don't think kissing on the lips makes you married.
Oh, okay. That would be weird. Like,
Holding the kiss the bag.
maybe that's why they married so many people back then.
Kiss the bag when it closes.
Okay. Anyways, we mentioned the kiss one more time in 27,
What?
which goes back to Abby.
It's back.
Abby, you've got 27 alone, just 27. Chapter 27, verse 27.
So Jacob went, etc., etc.
And when Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, he was finally
Convinced.
and he blessed his son. He said,
No, it's the realization. They did this first service too. Guys, Abby was reading that whole time. That's my ah. The ah that she was reading on the page was the ah of realization dawning. The ah.
Where is it?
Not
No,
the.
it's not
And this is critical. Not the. That is spelled with 2 A's minimum. Or my favorite, my absolute favorite, AAGGHH. This is just AA.
It's pronounced
AH is just, I understand now. Short. Okay. So he's wearing Esau's clothes. Hence, he now smells like Esau. No washing machine back then. No Downy fabric
I
softener.
found more. Daniel, I found two.
Good job.
Can I put these in your box?
Not right now.
No, I
There's one in the chair. Just
What about the metal things?
It's ridiculous that you would do that. I won't
What
say.
about the metal
I
things
already
that they
put
would
like
like
10 in.
rub their clothes?
A washboard?
Yeah.
No, they didn't have that back then either. This is way before that.
They have the river.
Wait, they had the yeah.
The river with rocks in it.
Yeah, you just
Cool.
You just
take two rocks.
Fish going back.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just take
that's
two rocks.
what?
That's why I look
Take
you
two
dead.
rocks.
Just throw in the lake, let the fish clean it.
Yeah,
I
let
guess
the
that
fish
works.
clean.
I just get a big rock and rub the
Yeah,
clothes
get
with
the
a big rock.
fish and let them clean it.
Let the fish
No, rub the clothes. Rub the clothes. You don't move the big rock. You just move the clothes. It doesn't matter how you do it, okay? You wash the clothes. It doesn't matter. Alright. Johnny, you've got the blessing.
What?
28 and 29.
What?
From the dew of heaven and the richness of the earth, may God always give you an abundant harvest of grain and bountiful new wine. May many nations become your servants, and may they bow down to you. May you be the master over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. All who curse you will be cursed, and all who bless you will be blessed.
The last part, man, is very important. All who curse you will be cursed. All who bless you will be blessed. This is huge in Jacob's life, because Jacob is not a perfect man.
Nope.
Jacob makes plenty of mistakes, but he respects God, and God does basically follow through on this part of the blessing nonstop. If someone makes themselves an enemy of Jacob, they go out of their way to mess with Jacob. It doesn't end well for them. It really bites them. It really messes with them. Likewise, Jacob just tries hard at something and he immediately succeeds. That's it. That's all he does. He tries hard. He doesn't have to actually be good at it. That's a crazy blessing when you think about it, because you could change jobs like 10 times and you'll just always be good at it.
Change what?
Be a doctor.
Jobs. Change jobs whenever you want. You just always be good at your job. So that's basically turns out true for Jacob. Whatever he tries his hand at, he's good at it. It's really cool. So just be good. So, like, he got good. That's pretty cool. All right, Lulu, read us 30 and 31 before Weston has an aneurysm.
Daniel.
No,
I'm thinking for fishing.
And almost before Jacob left his father, Esau returned from his hunt. Esau prepared a delicious meal and brought it to his father. Then he said, "Sit up, my father, eat my wild game, so you can give me your blessing."
So this is a crazy timeline if you think about it. Jacob's in the tent. He's getting the blessing. Esau comes home, and like right as Jacob leaves the tent is right as Esau comes home. That's pretty crazy if you think about it. He barely made it in and out of there. He could almost say the same thing now. Wow, how did you get your hunt so quickly? Because that is pretty fast. Just in the time it takes to cook a meal and have a blessing, Esau's back.
Weston, calm down.
Yes, Weston.
Chill out.
So if he always gets blessed, does that mean he's really good at tic-tac-toe?
Yes. Really,
Bingo.
really, Weston, really. You
How about
stop.
bingo?
Does everyone feel the importance of that statement?
You feel offended.
You just
I
feel,
feel it.
do you feel your day just improving in ultimate quality?
Yes.
We
Now
needed
that
to
you
hear that.
heard that?
He needed to interrupt Lulu.
Hey,
Soon you're gonna
what
die.
else would
she
he
was
do?
done. She was just beginning.
You can make a sandwich.
Uh,
That would help
Maya,
all
would
of
you
us.
like to read 32?
Sandwiches are good. I may have them.
Just 32.
Unless you want 33 as well.
Turkey, mayonnaise.
I'll do 32 and 33. Okay. But Isaac, but I can read.
It's okay. Do you have chewing gum? Yeah, that always messes me up on teas when I have chewing gum.
But Isaac,
Wait, we have a drinking
But
problem?
I said.
I know. I said, but Isaac asked him, "Who are you?" Esau replied, "It's your son, it's your firstborn. What? It's
The
your
comma.
firstborn. It's
The
your
comma's
son. Your
important.
firstborn son. Okay, that was weird. Esau. Isaac began to tremble uncontrollably and said, "Then who just served me wild game? I have already eaten it and blessed him just before you came, and yes, that blessing must stand." Bum bum bum.
This is why
Dum bum ba-da.
Esau wanted the blessing in the first place. He knew that when Isaac made a blessing, it was legit. It was not just someone praying for you and you're like, thanks for your kind words. It was someone praying for you and God heard and God listened. So when Isaac made a blessing, it was for real. This is why Esau wanted it. But then Isaac treats his blessings as real things. They are real. So when he makes the blessing will stand. He can't just undo the blessing. And that's important. He says this before Esau even asks. He knows Esau is going to ask. He knows he's going to ask. Can't you just unbless him? The answer is no.
No.
My blessing stands.
Directed by Robert.
Johnny, stop your joke. My voice is dying, Johnny. Please. All right. Thank you for at least making it a quiet joke. Johnny.
Oh, right.
Anyways, he starts to tremble. The thing I always messed up on as a kid, I just couldn't get over it. It made no sense to me. How does someone bring you lamb when you ask for venison and you don't know it's lamb?
Wait, you asked for medicine?
What's the difference?
Venison.
Oh.
It's deer. He asks for deer. So like, he asks for deer, he gets lamb. Why? Why does he not know the difference? This was so weird to me as a kid. But then I started learning about biology and it made sense finally. You guys ever learned in a science book you have like zones on your tongue for taste?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a total lie.
Yeah, it is a lie.
It's a total lie. You don't have zones on your tongue for taste.
Wait, what?
It's totally made up. We made that up so long ago. I don't know why they still have it in textbooks. You have different taste buds all over your tongue that taste different things all over your tongue. It's like your nose. Your nose doesn't have like a quadrant for sweets and like this area's for fatty smells. Like no.
What?
No, your tongue's the same way. It's just like scattered all over is everything. However, your tongue does have the ability to taste more things when you're young than when you're old. You start losing the ability to taste a lot of taste the older you get. This is why there's so many things that kids don't like, and then adults are like, it's fine, what are you talking about? Kid you not, we've lost the ability to taste the parts you don't like. You can look forward to that day. But the problem is the process doesn't like hit a peak where it's like, oh good, I can only taste the good stuff and none of the bad stuff, and now we're good, it'll just stay here. No. You keep getting older, it keeps going. You keep losing tastes until eventually when you get really, really old, you know what you can taste?
Nothing.
Sweet, salty, fatty.
Yeah.
Not
Sweet.
Peanut.
Not like
Things we need.
what kind of sweet? Sweet. Not what kind of salty?
What about
Salty.
sour?
Nope.
What about spicy?
You'll eventually get to a point where lemons are delicious.
Wait, so
Wait,
so
what?
If you live that
Lemons are
long.
already
If you live that long. Now, what's strange about
My
this?
grandma like couldn't put one up.
What's strange about this is that we're only talking about your tongue. Your brain is your brain. And your brain has the ability to interpret tastes. Your tongue tells it molecularly what is in your mouth right now, and then your brain invents that flavor. What that means is an adult is very good at imagination, because frequently adults remember how things taste, and that's what they taste. They don't taste the food you're sticking in their mouth. They taste the way they remember it tasting. So if you take a mostly blind man and you hand him food and tell him what it is, it tastes just right. Every time. Even if maybe you cooked it a little wrong. Or you used a completely different meat. It
Or you
tastes just like
accidentally
Mom
burnt
used
it.
to make it. Or Esau. Or whatever.
Just like Mom used to make.
You could hand him the same food twice and tell him different things about it, and
So it tastes the same.
no, it'll taste different. Because he's going off the mental picture of the food. If you tell him different things about it, Now it's changed. It's a different mentality. Now it's the same food. It tastes different. Now you do this too. Your brain is inventing all flavors all the time. Your tongue has no clue what anything tastes like. It only identifies. I have found this. I have found this. And then your brain goes, ding, this is what it tastes like. But you have more receptors at a young age than you will at an old age. That's all there is to it. So you can taste more things now than you will get to one day. This is also why when you bring an older person something that they don't recognize, they will invariably say the same thing every time. Needs salt. If you bring them food that they're not familiar with, they will say it needs salt because they're not familiar with it. Their brain isn't doing the extra work of adding on the flavor of memories.
So their brain is lazy.
So now the food is bland. Does that make sense? There's no memory associated with the food. The food's bland. So put on the thing that I know has flavor. Salt.
My dad just does that.
That still works even at an old
Where's
age.
the nacho cheese?
So yeah, you'll find a lot of older people. You bring them eggs made away they're not used to. Need salt. You make them new food they've never had before.
Cereal needs salt.
I've never met anyone that old. That's a holy one. Okay, we got some questions.
So like, you could give them medicine and say it's ice cream.
Bring them chocolate.
You know, I'm not for tricking old people, but yes, you could. Yeah.
So water is salt in your tongue that go to your brain and tell you what you're actually eating.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you going? Isn't
I need water.
Isn't like
Sweet.
are you just leaving us?
Yes.
Here.
And I get this at the end of the
Daniel, I'll go get you water. Daniel, I'll go get you water.
Salt.
It's like you bring a spoon of salt.
Okay, so who's next?
Wait, the water needs salt.
Sonia, you're next.
Do you need salt? Do you need some salt?
The water needs salt. Some salt.
The water
Book needs salt.
Not peas.
No, I'll just have some sugar.
Paper needs salt.
If I wanted to be
Daniel,
salty,
does
I
that
would
need
just say
salt?
Fortnite salt.
It's sweet.
I know, because it needs
But it doesn't need salt.
Where are you getting Cheetos
Yes.
from?
salt.
Oh,
I need no.
This is just a running joke.
Oh.
All right.
Cannibalism.
Show of hands. Should I have trusted Weston with my water cup?
No.
No.
Where'd he go?
Want me to go and check on him?
Down the stairwell. Just drop it at the
You really should have just gotten the water.
I don't.
Meditate.
Sorry, Daniel.
Meditate.
There's a chair right there.
meditate on what just
Like
happened.
less than 20 feet away.
You call that a chair?
Yeah.
Not a chair.
That's a beanbag.
Where do you pull it up
Counts
at?
as a chair.
Wow.
The bean.
Toilet water.
It's not yellow, but it's also not white. It's also not clear though.
That is legitimately colder than the sink. Thank you.
Hey.
That's nice.
On Friday night, I spilled your water. Now I refilled it.
Wait, you spilled his water?
Yeah, I hit it with
Yes,
the
there's
He
a
was like
stain
one of
right
two.
over there.
Two people knocked it off the table and it like landed on its lid.
That's
and it spilled everywhere.
Good job.
Yes.
And it's
thank
so
you.
So you got 34 and 35.
Where?
34 and 35.
34. 35.
Hold on, I'm blind.
Very bottom of the
Very
page.
bottom of the page.
I'm not stupid, I'm blind.
Mangoes and
I have a different Bible. What?
The bibble.
35.
34.
At 35.
Ah!
3, 4, 5.
When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, Bless me also, O my father. But he said, Your brother came with deceit and has taken away your blessing.
Okay, so he's taken away your blessing.
What's that?
Is that all blessings? Let's see. Daniel, would you like to read? No? How about Peach? Okay.
Wait, what?
36.
Esau claimed, No wonder his name is Jacob, for now he has cheated me twice. First he took my rights as the firstborn, and now he stole my rights, and now he has stolen my blessing. Oh, haven't you saved even one blessing for me?
Okay, very good.
You can still kill your master.
Shh. Johnny.
What? What?
Johnny.
We have 9 minutes, so.
Alright, so he says a few things here that he's saying in anger, and they're not actually true. He said he cheated me twice. He said the first time he took. Those are both not true. The first time, he said, you want the soup? You gotta give me your birthright. And he says,
Okay.
yes. That's not taking. That's not cheating. He proposed a deal.
Well, but he's a barter.
He made a bargain, and Esau
Oh,
went
really
with it.
had one.
Esau accepted. That's not cheating. That's not taking. That was a free will trade. So that's not exactly true. But he's angry. Angry people don't always say the right things, whether it be the truth or nice or whatever. They often say the wrong thing. But he makes a good point here at the end. He says, haven't you saved even one blessing for me? Okay. Let's read 37.
Isaac said to Esau, I have made Jacob your master, and I have declared that all his brothers would be his servants. I have guaranteed him an abundance of grain and wine. What is left for me to give you, my son?
Hannah, you want to do 38?
Esau pleaded.
Oh, sorry, I said Hannah.
Esau pleaded, but do you have only one blessing? Oh, my father, bless me too. Then Esau broke down and wept.
Finally, his father Isaac said to him, you will live away from the richness of the earth and away from the dew of the heaven above. You will live by your sword and you will serve your brother. But when you decide to break free, you will shake his yoke from your neck. So, his blessing to Jacob was set. It wasn't going to change, but the blessing has a loophole. The blessing to Jacob said, may you be the master over your brothers. That doesn't have a timeline affixed to it. It just says it must occur. You must be the master over your brothers. But for how long? When will it start? All these things are not mentioned in the blessing, and so Isaac takes advantage of this and he says in Esau's blessing, you will be his servant, but not forever. You'll break free. A yoke, if you're not familiar with the term, spelled this way, is a wooden apparatus put on an oxen's neck to hold it to something it's pulling. It's a thing that goes, it's like giant wooden handcuffs. You stick the top half on the top, you stick the bottom half on the bottom, and you lock it in place. It hooks up to whatever they're pulling. A plow, a cart, a wagon, whatever. And so when you take the yoke off, they're not attached.
They're free.
They're free. And so he says, when you decide to break free, you will shake his yoke from your neck. All right, then we get back over to Weston.
We're all done.
Weston 41.
Yes, I get to read. It's out.
Yeah, it's like mobile stocks.
Yeah.
From that time on, Esau hated Jacob because their father had given Jacob the blessing, and Esau began to scheme. I will soon be mourning my father's death, then I will kill my brother Jacob.
Oof.
Called it.
So he's waiting for dad to die, and then he's gonna kill Jacob.
Daniel.
Yikes. There are some
What about his
consequences when you cheat your family. Just saying, there are consequences. You will lose
your life.
Family.
Jacob is like hitting the
If you despise your family, you cheat your family, you abuse your family will respond. And it'll be different with every family. It'll be different with whatever you've done to them. But they're going to respond. So you slight them, they'll slight you. It's not good. It's not right. But it's how it works. It's what happens. And so Esau makes up his mind as soon as dad's not around, because he respected his dad. He liked his dad. He wanted his dad's favor. He wanted his dad to be happy. But as soon as dad's gone, all bets are off. That's it. We're done. Jacob's done. So then, you'd think this would be the kind of thing he puts in his head, he thinks about all day long, but apparently not. Apparently, he even talks about it with someone, I don't know who. Yes, Weston?
Can I read another verse since I didn't get to read this? I was late.
Oh.
I would have read the first verse, but I didn't.
Is that okay with you, JR? You won't get to read again.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, go for it, Wesley.
Yes.
You've got 42 through 45.
Then Rebekah heard about Esau's plan, so she sent for Jacob and told him, "Listen, Esau is
Consoling
himself by plotting to kill you, so listen carefully, my son. Get ready to flee to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay there with him until your brother cools off. When he comes down and forgets what you have done to him, I will send for you and come back."
To come back.
To come back. Why should I lose both of you in one day?
So Esau, if he went through his plan, would be a murderer. The punishment is death. So if he kills Jacob and Esau doesn't get away, he's dead too. So Rebecca's thinking like, I don't want to lose both of you. She's not in Sarah's boat. She didn't wait 25 years or whatever, but like, she waited over a decade to have kids. Rebecca waited a long time. So losing her 2 sons would be a huge deal. It's not just her kids, it's her kids who she shouldn't have been able to have. And now she's older. The odds of having more kids now are pretty bad. Her husband's old enough, he could die soon. Same story. So like if she loses her kids, that's kind of it. Then she'll lose her husband because he's just old, and then she'll have no family. And like she doesn't like any part of this, but she especially doesn't like the totality of it.
Wasn't that her fault though?
Yeah, true.
Basically.
Let's not get too technical.
It is. It's her fault.
What did I tell you about thinking?
Alright, so she says you're going to go stay with Laban in Haran. That's where she grew up. She grew up there. That's where a servant went 2 chapters ago to find her to come and live with and marry Isaac. So she's pretty familiar with the place. She knows it's a cool place. So she tells him to go there. Okay, last verse for Caleb.
Then Rebecca said to Isaac, "I am sick of these.
Sick and tired
of these local Hittite women. I would rather die than see Jacob marry one of them."
So this is like just a benefit for her. She didn't want Jacob to marry a local girl anyways. And then she's like, "Oh good, someone wants him dead. We'll use this." He'll go where I came from and find a good girl to marry. Which, you know, you guys notice the theme here? Human plans backfire a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Her plan backfires too.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. She says, "I want you to go there and marry a girl from there," right?
Yeah.
What happens?
Oh, does he marry a Hittite girl?
No, he doesn't marry a Hittite girl.
He marries like 3 different girls.
Marries 4 girls.
4 girls. So yeah, great plan, Mom. Go get married while none of us are looking.
Sweet.
Didn't work out well. Okay.
Mom never thinks. She's just like,
Well, she does. That doesn't mean she's God. The point isn't that you're dumb and you make bad plans. The point is that you're human and you make bad plans.
But humans are also dumb.
that's true.
But that's not the point. Okay.
Let's go. Get that roll of me.
Let's sum this up. We've got a guy, Jacob, not perfect, makes mistakes, does the wrong thing. We've got a guy, Esau, makes mistakes, not perfect, does the wrong thing. One of them respects God, one of them does not. Very different outcomes. And when you look at this, you have to be very careful, because I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I don't want you to think like, just go ahead, make your mistakes, and then go to God and apologize and everything will be fine. It's different than that. Because if you go to make a decision and you know, Johnny, you know what you're about to do is the wrong thing, that's the moment where you stop doing it. See, if you go into something that you know is wrong and you think like, well, I'll be forgiven by God, so it's fine, you're not respecting God. You're back over into Esau land. If you do it thinking, well, it's okay, I'll just ask for forgiveness, you're not respecting him. You've already moved off into Esau's land. Like, that's not what it is. When you are respecting God, you go into something and then you realize afterwards, oh, crud, what have I done? I should not have done this. This was a terrible idea. and then you go to God and you ask for forgiveness. You're still respecting him then. There's a big difference between the two. Making a mistake and knowing what you're doing is completely wrong. It's a big difference. Big difference. So Jacob, you're going to see as time goes on, he does continue to make mistakes here and there. He remains not perfect. But what ends up happening is God protects him. God blesses him. God guides him. And Esau has a very hard road. Esau, we don't get to follow through all of his middle days where it is hard though. We actually see him out the other side when he's wised up. And he's figured out that when you diss God and you walk away from him, it doesn't go well for you. He also spends more time with mom and dad, which I think is really important. Once Jacob's gone, there's only one son in the house. There's no more room to play favorites. There's only one. So that changes Esau. It changes things. And we'll see. It changes him for the better. He really didn't start out so good, and he really ended up a lot better than he started out. Jacob, I think, becomes wiser too, but the difference is he started out respecting God, honoring God. And so he had a little bit easier time. All right. We're going to pray. You're going to go. I just want you guys to remember, dissing your family has consequences. Respecting God has rewards. Yep. These are important things to know. Don't forget them. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for your word. We thank you for what it's teaching us. Help us to honor you. Help us to respect you. Help us to stop the moment we realize when something's wrong. To not plunge forward knowing we can fix it later. Help us, Lord, to keep you in mind in all of our decisions. Help us, Lord, to do like this family managed not to this week. Help us to pray. Help us to talk to you when we're not sure about things. We love you, Jesus. We pray all these things in your name. Amen. Make sure you guys grab those flyers on the way out. Scarf some of my leftover snack food. Invite some kids that you know need to know about those topics.
Danielle, you lost. You got lost.
Do you have no respect?
I don't have a phone.
Look at how this is organized. What is wrong with you, savages?
Winner.
What is wrong with you?
Weston.
Have you no respect?
No. How about downstairs?
Have you no honor?
Who's done that?
I can live with something being rude. I cannot live with being unorganized.
I would rather live.
I'm buying something.
I had a good life.